Did you know that the breakfast many seniors trust could quietly keep sciatica pain burning longer? I'm Dr. Alina Serratia, and over my 4 years working with older adults, I have seen one mistake again and again. People treat sciatica like a back problem only, when it often behaves like an angry, squeezed, inflamed nerve. Recent research reveals that food choices may shape how much pain and disability people feel. Stay with me, because by the end, you will know the one morning nut I recommend most often. You will also know what to stop doing first and how to build a safer daily routine around it. Comment below with where your pain travels, from your back, buttock, calf, or foot. I will be replying to each one. Sciatica is not just soreness in the lower back. It is pain that travels along the path of the sciatic nerve, the body's largest nerve. Think of that nerve like a thick electrical cable running from your lower spine into your leg. When something presses on it, the signal turns noisy. That noise can feel like burning, tingling, numbness, weakness, or a shock-like stab. Research shows lifetime sciatica incidence ranges from 10% to 40%, with yearly incidence around 1% to 5%. Research shows older adults face extra risk because bone spurs and spinal narrowing become more common with age. Here's what happens when that nerve stays irritated. Muscles tighten to protect you. You move less because walking hurts. Blood flow drops because you sit longer. Then stiffness rises, sleep worsens, and the pain can feel even bigger. But here's the shocking part most people don't know. Sometimes the nerve becomes more sensitive, even when the original trigger is not getting dramatically worse. That means your daily habits can either calm the alarm system or keep feeding it. Research shows a 2025 cross-sectional study of 598 people with sciatica found a clear pattern. Each 1-point rise in a pro-inflammatory diet score matched higher pain scores and a 4.75-point rise in disability. If you ignore sciatica, the problem can start shrinking your world. First, you avoid long walks. Then, you avoid stairs, shopping trips, and social visits. After that, strength drops, balance gets shakier, and confidence follows. Research shows mild cases can improve over weeks to months. Severe weakness, numbness, or bowel and bladder changes need urgent care. Many seniors miss the early warning signs because nerve pain can come and go. Good days make people delay action. Bad days make them fear movement. That back and forth steals progress. Now, this is important. You do not have to panic, but you do need to respect nerve pain early. Comment below if sitting makes your pain worse than standing. That detail matters more than most people think. Before I reveal the food that may help support a calmer pain environment, I want to tell you how this looks in real life. The names in these stories are changed, and each story is a composite based on patterns I have seen in practice. Let me tell you about Martha, age 71. Her pain started as a dull ache in her right buttock after gardening. Within 3 months, it shot down to her calf every morning. Martha tried resting more because she thought movement was damaging her spine. She sat through breakfast, sat through lunch, and stopped her evening walks. The less she moved, the more frightened she became. By week 10, she needed both hands to stand from a chair. She felt embarrassed at church because she had to shift positions every few minutes. Her sleep broke into short stretches, and that made her pain feel even sharper the next day. She came to me skeptical when I started asking about breakfast, hydration, and sitting time. She expected a stronger pill or a complicated device. Instead, I explained that a squeezed nerve often gets angrier inside an inflamed, stiff, undermoved body. I asked her to change only 3 things first. She replaced her sweet pastry breakfast, added a short walk after eating, and began using a measured serving of walnuts in the morning. Within 2 weeks, Martha reported less burning during her first steps. Within 6 weeks, she said her morning pain dropped by about half. She walked through the grocery store without stopping twice. More importantly, she stopped fearing every movement. Comment burning pain if you've experienced this. Let me know your age as well. The next one will surprise you because her biggest trigger was not lifting. It was what she did before noon every day. The first thing I want many seniors to avoid is the sugary breakfast trap. That includes pastries, sweet cereal, large glasses of juice, and flavored coffee drinks with little protein. Here's what happens when you start the day with a fast sugar surge. Blood sugar rises quickly, then falls quickly, and that swing can leave you more inflamed, more hungry, and less steady on your feet. Research shows diabetes raises the risk of nerve damage, and unstable blood sugar does your nerves no favors. But here's the shocking part most people don't know. A sugary breakfast often leads to a silent sitting cycle. You feel tired, heavy, and achy, so you move less. Less movement makes the hip and back muscles stiffer. Stiffer muscles can increase pressure around an already irritated nerve. I have seen seniors blame their mattress for this pattern when breakfast was part of the problem. Let me tell you about Robert, age 68. He stopped his daily donut and sweet latte habit, and within a month, his mid-morning leg zaps became less frequent. The second thing to avoid is sitting for long stretches right after waking. Many people sit through breakfast, the news, and phone calls before the body has a chance to loosen up. Here's what happens when you stay planted too long. The hips tighten, the low back stiffens, and the nerve may feel more compressed when you finally stand. Research shows prolonged sitting is a known risk factor for sciatica, while gentle movement can improve circulation and reduce pain perception. But here's the hidden disaster. Seniors often call this rest, but the nerve may experience it as prolonged irritation. That is why some people feel the worst pain when rising from a chair. Let me tell you about Elaine, age 76. She thought rest was helping, yet her first 20 steps each morning felt like walking on live wire. When she changed to standing breaks and gentle movement after breakfast, that sharp startup pain eased within days. The third thing to avoid is the fried and processed lunch pattern that often follows a poor morning. Sausage biscuits, chips, fast food, and packaged snacks pile on salt, refined starch, and unhealthy fats. Here's what happens when these foods become routine. They can support a more pro-inflammatory eating pattern, and that matters in pain conditions. Research shows the 598-patient sciatica study linked more pro-inflammatory diets with greater pain and greater disability. Now, this is important. I am not saying one sandwich causes sciatica. I am saying patterns matter. Most seniors do not know that repeated low-quality meals can make recovery feel slower, heavier, and more frustrating. Let me tell you about Harold, age 80. He thought lunch could not affect nerve pain. After replacing processed lunches with beans, greens, olive oil, and leftovers from dinner, he said his afternoon heaviness eased and his walking felt smoother. The fourth thing to avoid is aggressive twisting and deep stretches from the internet. Many people see quick fix videos and force their body into positions that do not match their cause of pain. Here's what happens when a sensitive nerve gets yanked. The body tightens more, the pain alarm rises, and people decide movement itself is dangerous. Research shows Harvard guidance favors gentle stretching and warns that overly intense stretching can worsen symptoms. Most seniors do not know this because dramatic demonstrations get more attention than safe progress. The right movement usually looks boring. It feels controlled, not heroic. Comment, "I'm guilty," if you've been doing any of these. Don't worry, you're about to learn how to fix it. Stay with me because the countdown starts now, and the final step ties everything together. Number 5 is water before caffeine. Do you know what happens when you wake up slightly dehydrated and then reach straight for coffee? Muscles can feel tighter, blood pressure can shift, and some people notice stronger cramps or stiffness. Water will not cure sciatica, but it helps support circulation, digestion, and steadier energy. Think of it as making the road smoother before traffic starts. Many seniors wake mildly dehydrated, especially if they use diuretics or avoid drinking at night. Research shows supportive self-care for sciatica includes simple measures like heat, ice, and movement, and hydration fits into that same low-risk support mindset. Studies found older adults do better with daily routines they can repeat, not dramatic overhauls. Start with one glass of water before coffee, then another with breakfast. Add a pinch of cinnamon or pair breakfast with protein if blood sugar swings hit you hard. Expect subtle benefits first, like easier bowel movements, less morning dryness, and a less sluggish start. Number 4 is a gentle 5 to 10-minute walk after breakfast. Here's what happens when you walk soon after eating. The hips begin to loosen, the back stops bracing so hard, and blood moves through tissues that hate being stagnant. Gentle walking also helps many people manage blood sugar after meals, which may support a calmer, inflammatory environment. This is not power walking. This is relaxed, upright, and safe movement. Research shows Harvard guidance says inactivity can worsen sciatica, while movement and gentle stretches may improve circulation and reduce pain perception. Spine specialists also recommend simple senior-friendly exercises like pelvic tilts, bridges, and seated hamstring stretches. If walking outside feels unsafe, walk indoors beside a counter. Use supportive shoes. Hold posture tall. Within 1 to 2 weeks, many people notice easier standing and less fear of the first step. The next one will surprise you because it is small, colorful, and often ignored. Number 3 is berries most days of the week. Blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, and blackberries bring fiber and polyphenols, which are plant compounds linked with antioxidant activity. Here's what happens when you eat them with breakfast or lunch. You often get a steadier rise in blood sugar than with sweet-baked foods, and that helps energy feel less erratic. Their fiber also helps fullness, which makes it easier to avoid the snack foods that can drag the whole day off course. Research shows a 2025 critical review on nutrition and neuropathic pain supports a careful idea. Anti-inflammatory eating patterns, fruits, nuts, and polyphenols may help support pain management. The same review warns that diet is an addition, not a replacement. A practical way to use berries is 1/2 cup with plain yogurt or oatmeal. Frozen works well. No fancy brand is needed. Expect digestive regularity and more stable energy first, then easier consistency with healthier eating over time. Number 2 is a magnesium-rich plate later in the day. Think spinach, beans, pumpkin seeds, lentils, and yogurt. Here's what happens when magnesium intake improves. Muscles may relax more easily, bowel habits often improve, and sleep can feel steadier. That matters because tight muscles and poor sleep can amplify how big pain feels. Magnesium is not a magic switch, but it supports systems that influence tension and recovery. Research shows the 2025 Neuropathic Pain Review highlights Mediterranean-style eating. It points to omega-3, magnesium, and fewer processed foods as promising supports for chronic pain conditions. Research shows a large review on brain health in older adults also places nuts, seeds, and unsaturated fats inside healthy aging patterns. Build this by adding beans to soup, spinach to eggs, or pumpkin seeds to salad. Give it 2 to 4 weeks. Early signs include fewer cramps, better bowel regularity, and less late-day tightness. Before I reveal the number 1 solution, which of these surprised you most? Comment below. Stay with me because this final step is simple, affordable, and backed by some useful nutrition science. Number 1 is walnuts in the morning, not because walnuts cure sciatica, not because they replace therapy, medication, or proper diagnosis. I recommend them because they are one practical food that may support a body dealing with inflammation, poor breakfast habits, and aging nerves. Here's what happens when you eat walnuts with breakfast instead of pastry or processed snacks. You give your meal healthy fats, some protein, fiber, magnesium, and alpha-linolenic acid, a plant omega-3 fat. That combination can slow the meal down, help fullness last longer, and reduce the urge for another sugar hit. Walnuts are also easy for seniors because they require no cooking, travel well, and fit into oatmeal, yogurt, or a simple bowl of fruit. The benefits go beyond convenience. Walnuts support a smarter breakfast pattern. They can help replace less helpful foods instead of adding more clutter. Their fats and fiber may help steady energy. Their crunch can make simple meals more satisfying. And because they are usually eaten raw, they also provide antioxidant compounds that researchers continue to study. But here's the shocking part. The power of walnuts may come less from being magical and more from what they help you stop eating every morning. Research shows the walnuts and healthy aging trial followed 708 adults ages 63 to 79 for 2 years. Those who added walnuts daily had modestly lower LDL cholesterol and fewer small, dense LDL particles without extra weight gain. Research shows a 2025 meta-analysis of 41 randomized trials included 3,759 participants. It found omega-3 supplementation produced a moderate reduction in chronic pain, with stronger effects over longer periods. That does not prove walnuts treat sciatica directly, but it supports walnuts as part of an anti-inflammatory pattern. A recent walnut breakfast study in 2025 found a walnut-rich breakfast helped reaction time later in the day. That study involved younger adults, so I apply it cautiously. For seniors, the practical message is simpler. A better breakfast can shape energy, movement, and food choices for hours. Use about 1 ounce, or roughly a small handful, each morning. Chop them into oatmeal, stir them into plain yogurt, or eat them with berries and a boiled egg. Expect fullness first, then better consistency with the rest of your routine. Let me tell you about Susan, age 64. She had left-sided sciatica that flared every time she drove to watch her grandson's games. Her mornings were coffee and toast, then nothing until afternoon. She started a breakfast of plain yogurt, berries, and walnuts, followed by a hallway walk. Within 3 weeks, she told me her pain no longer spiked before lunch. She also felt stable enough to sit through the first half without shifting constantly. Let me tell you about George, age 83. He believed he was too old to change anything that mattered. His right foot tingled, his calf cramped at night, and he thought pain was now his normal. We kept his plan very simple. Water first, walnuts with oatmeal, a short walk after breakfast, and fewer processed lunches. After 1 month, he said his mornings felt less stiff and his confidence returned. The next one will surprise you because the real benefit came from the combination, not the nut alone. Let me tell you about Linda, age 74. She expected the walnuts to do all the work. They did not. Her real change came after she paired walnuts with water, a short walk, and fewer packaged snacks. In about 4 weeks, she said her leg felt less heavy in the afternoon. She could also cook dinner without leaning on the counter so often. That is how supportive nutrition usually works. One better choice opens the door for the next one. Here's what makes this powerful. Each step supports the others. If mornings are your worst time, start there. Morning routines shape blood sugar, stiffness, and confidence for the whole day. Small wins before noon often create better afternoons and calmer nights. Water helps the body wake up. Walking reduces the stiffness that sitting creates. Berries and magnesium-rich foods improve the overall quality of your meals. Walnuts make breakfast more filling and easier to repeat. Research shows anti-inflammatory dietary patterns built around whole foods, nuts, fruits, and fewer processed foods are linked with better aging. They may also support pain management. Comment walnuts if you already eat them, or comment never if this will be new for you. A simple breakfast could be plain oatmeal with 1 ounce of walnuts, 1/2 cup of berries, and a glass of water. Then take a 5-minute walk indoors. A practical lunch could be lentil soup, spinach, olive oil, and yogurt, because that meal adds fiber, magnesium, and steady energy. Dinner can stay simple too, with salmon or beans, cooked vegetables, and a small baked potato. Here's what happens when meals become predictable. Your body gets fewer inflammatory surprises, and your routine gets easier to trust. Now, this is important. Walnuts are not safe for everyone. Avoid them if you have a tree nut allergy. Use caution if chewing is hard, because large pieces can be a choking risk for some seniors. If you have kidney disease, digestive conditions, or a medically restricted diet, ask your healthcare professional how nuts fit your plan. Always consult your healthcare provider if you take blood thinners or manage diabetes with medication. Also call if you notice worsening numbness, major weakness, fever, sudden falls, or bowel or bladder changes. You also need a medical evaluation if your pain follows an injury, wakes you with severe weakness, or keeps worsening despite self-care. Food can support recovery, but food should not delay diagnosis. Some people need imaging, physical therapy, injections, or surgery decisions based on the true cause. Comment doctor if you know you have a diagnosis already, or comment unsure if you are still guessing. Stay with me because I want to leave you with the most important truth of all. Sciatica can make you feel trapped inside your own body, but you are not powerless. You now know that pain often grows when inflammation, sitting, fear, and poor food choices pile together. You also know that small changes can work together. Drink water first, move gently after breakfast, build meals around whole foods, and if you want one simple morning food to start with, make it walnuts. You do not have to accept every flare as inevitable aging. You do not have to wait for pain to own your mornings. Start with one breakfast, one walk, and one better choice repeated long enough to matter. Comment one of 3 things: walnuts, walking, or less sugar. That tells me which step you are starting today. Subscribe if you want clear, research-based senior health videos without the hype. In my next video, I'll show you the quiet bedtime habit that can make nighttime leg pain less miserable. If this video helped you, share it with someone who needs this information. You might save their life.